Well, coverage continues now on the growth of data centers in rural America as landowners are contacted to sell or maybe lease their property. A number of questions that can arise. It is a situation that has been gaining momentum as wind and solar production also advances in these communities. Howard Halderman with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers joins us now for more on this. Always a pleasure, Howard. Thank you so much for being here. Should we or shouldn't we? I think that is a question a lot of landowners right now are asking themselves. In your opinion, should a landowner consider alternative uses for their property?
As a private property rights advocate, I think a landowner has the right and probably, arguably for their operation, a real reason to at least consider it. Now, there's a lot of opportunities out there. Maybe it's a data center wanting to buy your land that could create transformative wealth for your family. Maybe it's a solar lease or a wind lease or a cell tower lease that at least adds some additional income. And in tight financial times on the farm, maybe, Suzanne, these are some things that should be considered as part of an operation.
Yeah.
So should a landowner consider it? I think it's worthy of consideration, but there are a tremendous number of factors when a landowner gives that some consideration.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of positives, and we're going to discuss that. But there are some negatives from some communities. And I think that sometimes arises, will it take the land out of agricultural production? But let's talk about the positives here. What are the benefits?
So I think that there could be a win-win-win. Win for the landowner. The landowner is going to get additional income, or maybe they get a 1031 exchange opportunity where they could buy 7 acres for every one they're selling if it was a data center deal. So there's a win for the landowner in that. There's a win for the developer because they get to develop their solar project or wind or their data center. The win for the community. If a community takes a look at this opportunity and says, all right, what do we want? What do we expect from this developer? We're going to have certain restrictions we put in place, setbacks, buffers, how they require you to generate your own electricity, how you handle water. They may also ask for a community benefits agreement. And I'm aware of some communities. There's an example, one here in Indiana, where the sewer bill for every residence in that city has gone away, all because of a data center coming to their community. That benefits everybody in that community. And so I think there are some ways that a community could look at this and say, all right, we'll allow this new alternative use under these restrictions. And it might be about sound, it might be about water use and all these other things. And at the same time, what could be that community benefits agreement that is an economic step up for a lot of these rural communities who are struggling today?
Yeah. What about private property rights? I mean, at this point, going forward with something like this, it would change a lot, including the agricultural tax classification. There's a lot at play here, that things I think that landowners really need somebody to help steer this.
They do. And that's where we always recommend they find an attorney who has experience in negotiating contracts for a data center acquisition or for a solar lease or something like that. That said, private property rights, I think that's the essence of the United States way, right? That we as a private property owner, as long as we don't do something on the property that harms others, should have the right to do what we want with our property. Obviously, within parameters, and the definition of what harms others is where we get tripped up sometimes with these discussions. But I think that a private property rights is something that needs consideration as part of this discussion when this movement goes forward. And how does it really impact the overall community? And again, how can that community put some restrictions in place so that others aren't harmed by a new alternative use?
Howard, are you hearing in communities that you work with, are you hearing from people about this question and, maybe one way or another, what people are saying and they're feeling?
Oh, it's daily, Suzanne. Yeah. And in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, a lot of transmission lines exist. That creates opportunities for data centers, for solar power generation. The demand for data and the demand for electricity is not going down. They're going up every day. Electric bills are going up for every consumer. So as those things occur and demand is there, these projects are going to be proposed. So we hear about it in every county. It seems like any newspaper you open today, there's an article in there, XYZ County has considered a moratorium or is developing an ordinance. And I would just encourage communities to look at this and say it's an opportunity. And are there guardrails we can put in place and take advantage of the opportunity? Oh, by the way, the landowner wins in that and the developer can win in that as well.
Yeah, a lot of discussions definitely happening and happening at a very fast rate as things quickly evolve. Thank you, Howard. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. That's Howard Halderman with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers.